Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 16 is entitled as Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of the divine and demonic nature.
Sloka 7, Part 4. Pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca janā vidur āsurāḥ na śaucaṁ nāpi cācāro na satyaṁ teṣu vidyate. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. Na śaucaṁ, no cleanliness. Cleanliness plays a very major role in one's spiritual practices, both internal as well as external equally has its importance. We quickly went through the internal purification or cleanliness, and we've been extensively looking into the external cleanliness. Though we can't cover everything because there are a lot more details, but that which are important for our day-to-day life has been shared in these sessions. We ended the previous session by sharing how onion and garlic are considered in the lower mode. Therefore, one should never consume them. By doing so, one becomes unclean. Also, certain actions that we do by our body makes us unclean. For simple example, while people eat in the traditional way by sitting on the floor, one uses right hand to eat, and one must rest their left hand on the left thigh. Rather, if they keep their left hand placed on the floor like a support, then it is not considered clean. Another point is, when someone is eating, the person who is serving the food, they serve extra salt on the plate or the leaf, which is also not a good practice. Both of these considered as good as one is consuming cow's meat. Here's another point on cleanliness. Nowadays, people seem to be mostly using spoon or fork to eat. First of all, which is not good practice unless and until if the food requires spoon, one must always try to use their hands, fingers to eat. But the point here is, if one eats with spoons and forks, they think they are still clean, therefore they don't need to wash their hands because they used not the hands but the spoons. Well, that is not correct, because the hand touched the spoon and the spoon touched the mouth. Therefore, the hands are contaminated. Hence, one must wash their hands, rinse their mouth. We've seen another practice, that is, while eating, on one hand, they touch and take the items on the table from their left hand, because left hand has not been used for eating. Their idea is it is not contaminated, but the fact is it is, because left hand is part of the body. It is not separate from our body. Well, what about we have a wet paper or a towel, touch that and then serve yourself, which is also not accepted because you washed one hand whereas your other hand of your body is still in use. Therefore, if we want a second serve, we either wash both hands and serve, or request someone who's not eating to serve us. Now, let's talk about an important topic within cleanliness, and that is about pets at home. Kindly hear to the entire session of this topic before making any conclusion. Nowadays, we see having pets as part of family is becoming a common practice, which was not traditional. One may say, well, if we have to follow everything traditional in this current age, it is not going to be practical. Well, which may be true, but there are some values, certain things cannot change irrespective of our progress in years. We have not stopped eating, we have not stopped sleeping, we have not stopped working. We have been doing so many things which were also traditional, but we didn't give them up. Likewise, there are certain things or many things which can be practiced and followed irrespective of past, present or future. Having pets like dogs and cats which stay within the house, they share the same space. We see they are given the liberty to share the bed, the couch. Sometimes they walk like a king all over the places, including the kitchen. Having dogs or cats is not a recommended Vedic practice. It is again the scripture. Let's remember, scriptures are given to us by the Lord for our well-being. Having these pets at home, it is considered unclean and inauspicious. It is said, benefit of any good deeds that's done in those homes which has these pets will be taken away by certain demons, which means the house will be deprived of any punya. And by having dogs at home makes the home become disqualified to perform any ritual deeds like puja, yaga, yajna, homa and so forth. We see sometimes the family members become so much attached that they don't differentiate these animals with them. They love them so much. They embrace them, they kiss them, they in fact feed them. Sometimes they share the same food, keep them beside while they eat. Not only that, they take these pets to other places where they are not supposed to be taken. What we have seen usually is the parents are forced by their children to get dogs or cat, but after that the parents end up being more attached and caretaker of these pets than the children, as the children become busier with their studies and other activities. Sometimes even the doctors suggest people to have pets at home to avoid loneliness, and this is an Western practices but seem to be now appearing in other parts of the world as well. It is said that if the dog enters the house needs to be purified after chasing the dog away. One family was casually sharing that after they had their pet, the dog, at their home, the family members have become busy to take care of the dog and had less time to quarrel with each other. The dog shows same love and affection every single time, unlike the family member who are always fighting and arguing. Well, there could be some truth to that, as dogs are very loyal to their master, which is something that we all should learn from the dog, how to be loyal to our supreme master. Whether you chase it away, whether you love, it doesn't show any differences in its affection to its master. Likewise, we must also try to develop that one great quality of the dog, to be loyal to our Supreme Father Sri Krishna. But coming back to the family which was sharing how presence of dog helped their family from not getting into quarrel, but they failed to understand it is a patchwork. There is no fight and argument, but also there is no any unity. It has not increased or developed the unity within the family. It's still the same. This world is designed in such a way there are arguments, fights, dissatisfaction, etc. If we are expecting a place where there are free of any of these things, then we are looking for that love in wrong place. We are going to be disappointed. But that doesn't mean one can find alternate solution by having dogs to receive that missing love and keep oneself be engaged in dog service. If we keep ourselves busy in serving the community in some way or the other, engage in some temple activities, no one will ever feel left out with loneliness, or no one will have time to quarrel with each other. One would get more everlasting internal satisfaction. Not only that, the relationship within the family, within others, becomes stronger. Therefore, let's keep God as the center of our home, and as family members, let's all serve that Lord who is center of our home, rather than keeping the dog as the center of our home and serving that dog. One may argue that how can we ignore the dogs? It is also a living entity. We should be compassionate to all living entities. How can we ignore other living entities? We must take care of them as much as possible. Well, that's true. Very true. But that doesn't mean we go against what's been prescribed in the scripture. If the scripture says, take care of all living entities as much as possible, and in other place scripture says that dogs should be kept away, what needs to be understood is we take care of all the living entities as much as possible, which includes dog, but at the same time we have to keep the dog away from us. Not that taking care means keep the dog with us. Moreover, we should know the scriptures are more compassionate than us. They say that one must perform Panchamaha Yajna every single day. Especially this is for the householders. The Panchamaha Yajnas are Deva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Rishi Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Manushya Yajna. Sacrifices to the god, sacrifices to the ancestors, sacrifices to the rishis, sacrifices to the other fellow human beings and sacrifices to other living entities, which is Bhuta Yajna. For those who want to know more details about this Panchamaha Yajna, kindly refer back to 4th chapter, Sloka 30 and 31 audio recording. So, unlike us, the scriptures care for all the living entities, not just dogs and cats. And that is the greatness of our scriptures. Yes, we must take care of the other living entities, knowing that they are also part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is present as Super Soul even within those dogs. But taking care of them in the way that the scripture recommends, not otherwise. That is, we have to keep these animals away from us, not close to us, not within the house. The Vedic mantras should not be heard by the dogs. The food should not be seen by the dogs. The food that is offered to the Lord cannot be given directly to the dogs. All these things will make us unclean and also bring inauspiciousness to us. One may argue, saying, what about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? When he was a child, he was having a puppy. What about Dattatreya, who seemed to be having a dog? And what about Yudhishthira, who had a dog before he left this world? Let's find the answers in our next session.
Namaste. Hare Krishna.